What is this? Another one? Another one? Orange and Jasmine. Bromley again. So yes, good afternoon. It is that time of the weekend. We're going for an afternoon walk and we're going to review another Bromley fragrance. You would have seen yesterday on my review, I did a review of Lime and Bergamot by Bromley and I was very impressed with how natural it was. I've just gone into my brother's room, as I said at the end of the last video, to have a look to see if he had any more in there, and he has this one, Orange and Jasmine. So I'm really looking forward to doing this review while on my walk. If you haven't seen my reviews before, essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and rank this fragrance on 5 categories. So it's be price just value for money, its versatility, how much you can use it in different situations. We'll also look at its projections, how much it's kicking off my top or my skin while I'm out walking. We'll look at its compliment factor, do I think people are saying nice things about it? And then we'll also look at its longevity. So when I get near the end of my walk, can I still detect the fragrance? Now, just looking at the bottle initially here, it's quite pink. I feel like this one's more marketed to women. And interestingly, on Fragrantica, when I just did a little bit of research on this fragrance, it did actually market it more for women, just said for women. But doing a little bit more digging, I've seen other websites, Parfumo, that also does sort of reviews of scents, has marketed it for men as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how versatile it is, and particularly for men as well. But this is definitely, from the competition, marketed at least for women more than men. So yeah, what I'm going to quickly do, I'm going to go through the note breakdown in a second while applying this fragrance and just tell you what I can detect. But of course, it's probably a clue in the name again, Orange and Jasmine. So yes, time to spray the fragrance. I'm really looking forward to spraying this one because I actually do quite like a lot of these floral feminine scents. I just think they're very wearable. Even myself, Alex de Palma Sakura is one of my absolute favourites. It is a unisex scent, but it definitely leans more to women. So let's spray this one. Let's see what we get. I do like orange in fragrance as well. Okay. Yeah, I don't need to dig this into my top to smell this one at all. Now, what I'm kind of getting on that initial thing, and it's in the top notes of the fragrance, of course, is that orange. It's a nice juicy orange. It's not a sharp citrus or anything like that. Certainly not pretty zesty, which some orange fragrances can be. No, it's much, much softer. And that's probably because of what you get in the middle of this fragrance. You've got a little bit of jasmine there and obviously lily of the valley. So it adds this kind of floral component to it. Alongside at the bottom, the base of the fragrance, a bit of musk. And it's giving that clean washing type feeling. Now, I'll be honest with you, has the orange worn off quite quickly? Yes, but I don't know if that's that it's not there, but also I think the florals are essentially the thing here that just take over. They're essentially doing most of the legwork of this fragrance, and you really are detecting that jasmine smell. For me, jasmine is a very, very feminine note. It's kind of what I associate with a women's handbag. I know that sounds awful, but my mum always loves the smell of jasmine. It's one of her favourite notes alongside patchouli, and always knows she sometimes has these sort of fragrances in her bag, so it feels very familiar. It's definitely got that feminine edge to it, but really looking forward to reviewing this one today, and yeah, see if I can recommend it for everyone that is watching this video as well. So I'm going to spray a little bit more. Obviously, when we go out, we're going to rank the fragrance on 5 categories. So we'll look at price dash value for money first. I'll see you out there. And we are off, and I do apologise, it is very windy again, so I might have to keep my phone a little bit close to my face while I talk so you can hear me for this review. But it is Bronnley Orange and Jasmine, and the first thing I do want to say is I like how they've not really gone out and given any silly flashy names. I've done a lot of reviews lately where the names of the fragrances have been so like obscure, and almost they can almost coach you in just by a fancy name or a fancy bottle, but they haven't really done this with this fragrance at all, or any of the ones I've seen from Bromley so far. They literally are just what's in it and a very generic bottle, and I'm quite happy with that, because when we talk about price dash value for money, and the price I've been finding is mainly on eBay, it looks like it's around £15 to £16 for this one. You know, it is selling itself on the quality of the fragrance, and that's what I like here. If I was blindfolded, how much would I think this fragrance is worth? I personally think it would be that sort of £40 range. I think, again, it smells, and just from the 2 Bromleys I've smelt so far, it just smells really, really natural. Again, I compare them to like an Hermes fragrance, which I think are the absolute best for just smelling like you're out in nature. It smells like I said with the other one, Lime Bergamot, it smells like you're out almost in a spring garden. It's very fresh, uplifting. It's not harsh in terms of the oils. Again, you can tell it's just natural oils used, and they've only used 3 or 4. Again, it's a very simplistic note breakdown, but they've done simplicity well here, and I think it's punching above its weight. If you can get it for around that £16 range, I think that's great. Now, the reason I can't give it a 10, because I would if it was just purely that price all the time, is because it looks like a lot of these fragrances from Bromley at the moment whether they've been discontinued or something along those lines, you can only get them on eBay. You can only find them from sort of sellers on eBay. And with eBay, you do get a lot of variation on prices. And the last thing you want is, say you buy this one for the first time, you absolutely love it, which from initial impressions I really do. I feel like you could pay £16 on this occasion. Maybe it won't be on there for 3 or 4 months, and then 3 or 4 months later, someone will be selling it, but they could be charging £45 now. But again, I don't think it's not necessarily worth £45. If I've paid only 16 before, paying 3 times the price, I think it would feel a bit steep for me. And I don't think it's complex enough to make me go, oh yeah, I really want to go and spend those higher prices, because I'd probably lean towards a fragrance that's maybe more suited to the winter if I know this one I paid a third of the price in the past. So that's the only reason I can mark it down, is almost its lack of availability and consistency on prices as a result of it being sold on eBay and more private sellers. So for that reason, I'm going to give it, we'll go 7.5 out of 10. It's just purely that, again, on scent quality, I'd probably give it a 10, but it's just that availability and also the lack of versatility in bottle sizes. It looks like you can only get these in 100ml, which again, if you want to just try something for the first time, I quite like that flexibility of maybe just having a little sample or a smaller bottle like 30ml, where I think this would be great to throw in your bag just as a top-up scent through the day. Okay, so moving on to versatility for Orange and Jasmine by Bronnley. Do I think this is a versatile scent? Absolutely, yes I do. When you've got orange, jasmine, musk, lily of the valley, they're not divisive notes, are they? They're not notes that you don't see in men's and women's fragrances. But of course, when you see jasmine and lily in the middle of this fragrance, it certainly leans more feminine. And if I had to be stereotypical, which I like to do with these, is who would it be most suited to? I think a woman, again, in their mid-30s, most likely, or a younger person who's got a bit of experience with scents, who just wants a bit of a step up from their entry-level summer fragrances. This one is certainly when you could wear it in an office. I think it would go really nice with a dress, or a male who maybe going to a wedding with a casual floral shirt on. That's where I think this one works best, because the floral component is certainly quite strong in this. But I do admit, the orange is still hanging in there. It does get overpowered when you spray it initially, but once it dries down again, you do pick up that slight orange citrus from this. And that's very safe. You know, orange is in so many fragrances. It's a very wearable scent. Probably in terms of summer fragrances, it's utilised almost as much as anything else, whether it's bergamot and lime. Orange tends to be in a lot of scents. And yeah, that means if you're a younger person who wants to rock this, or an older person, you're not going to feel wrong wearing it, because they are notes that people in every walk of life do detect and do like. I just think what's really nice about this one is it is a step up in quality, and that step up in quality looks like there really are natural oils that they're using in these fragrances. Makes you feel like you can dress it up a bit more, whether you want to wear it in, like I said, a wedding situation or an everyday office type wear. It'll work just as well in those situations as it will casually at the gym, or just being up with friends, going for a walk or a coffee. It's brilliant. It can be your signature scent. It can be used in many situations. Where it might fall down, I don't know if it'll really cut through the cold. So if you are someone who wants to make that real statement, a real wow moment where everyone goes, wow, who is that person, that showstopper scent, this one isn't it. And for me personally, I'd want something a bit sweeter for those winter months, when you want something on a cold day, you know, something like a boozy vanillic caramel type scent. I still think you'd want something else to support this one, but for most situations, for every day, this is pretty much as versatile as you can get. So I'm going to give it, for that reason, I'm going to give it a 9.5, which is exactly the same as I gave the Bronnley Lime and Bergamot, because I think what I would say is you don't need both here. They both do the same job. They can be both used in the same situation. I think it's just a case of which one you prefer. Do you prefer that slightly more floral component, or you prefer that more soapy green component from Lime and Bergamot? But either way, they both can be used in the same situation, and they have that mass appeal. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10 for versatility. So moving on to projection for Orange and Jasmine, how much am I actually noticing this scent at the moment? Is it really kicking off my clothing, kicking off my skin, and leaving a nice aroma that other people around me would notice? I'll be honest, I'm a little bit underwhelmed. It certainly doesn't feel as strong as Lime and Bergamot, which I reviewed during my run. Now, sometimes on a windy day where it is quite windy, you sometimes find that breeze, it just really kicks up from your top, particularly if you're warming up. And I am quite warm at the minute. but it's not there. And at the moment, I haven't smelt it once actually during my walk. Can I actually smell it on my top? Yeah, so it is definitely still there. I'm still getting that orange floral type smell, certainly white florals, but I'm having to find it. It's not going to come find me. I'm going to have to dig my nose into my top to detect it, and that's slightly underwhelming because I actually thought this one would be stronger than Limenberg, not purely because it has those florals in, because it has the jasmine, because it has the lily, but it's definitely more tame from what I'm gathering from this first hour. It's not got enough oomph where even I think if someone was sitting next to you in an office, they necessarily pick it up. I think the only time someone would pick this up is in those more intimate settings. If someone's, you know, maybe wearing your hoodie or they're lying on your chest, for example, they might be able to pick it up then. But other than that, it is very much close to the skin. It does feel more like a skin scent than anything else. It's not even going to project more than 2 meters away. So I'm a little bit underwhelmed. But the one thing I would say in defense of this, sometimes white florals and floral fragrances in general can be quite cloying and quite aggressive, and I don't like that either. So the fact it is a little bit more tame, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. And look, if you're just someone who's only wearing it for yourself, you're not going out to necessarily get big compliments, big comments from other people, and you know, wanting other people to notice it, I think it probably does about hit the sweet spot. But in general, I think this one could do a little bit more, especially because they are using, from what I'm gathering from this, some really high quality oils. So yeah, slightly underwhelming. It might just be due to the lack of complexity of this fragrance. But yeah, it's not one I'm particularly noticing at all on my walk at the minute. And even now with the breeze in my face, it's not coming to find me. So I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10 for projection. Okay, so moving on to compliment factor. Do I think Orange and Jasmine is a compliment getting scent? I think the theme of these Bronnley fragrances, from what I'm gathering so far, is they're not really built to be these big compliment getting fragrances. They're more for your everyday use, but they'll leave a good impression. You know, it's a good first impression type scent. The person that I would define wearing this is reliable. It'd be a reliable person. The person that always turns up early to work, he's never off sick, always has his shirt tucked in, just brings a positive energy and just looks after himself. They're not going out to be the life and soul of the party. You know, it's not like a clubbing fragrance where you are basically saying, notice me with a Versace Eros or a pack of about 1 million. No, this is your everyday person that values of, just as I said, looking smart, being punctual, looks after their hair, goes to the gym once a week, got a young family, whatever they do, they really value those simple things in life. And that is what this is, a simplistic but lovely fragrance, very naturalistic, and people will say good things. I always say people underestimate just smelling clean. Honestly, the amount of times people have complimented me just purely because they go, well, you smell really clean, and it just shows, again, it's showing up and making an effort that some people appreciate. It's not just your fragrance. You can't go, I don't think you get compliments in isolation just purely on your fragrance at times, unless you make the effort with everything else. If you turn up and you've got 2 different colour shoes on, for example, that's what people are going to notice. So you need everything else to be in order, and this fragrance is just another thing you can add to your list to make you overall that friendly, approachable person that people will say nice things about you. So yeah, if you're wearing that sort of smart casual attire and you're wearing it as an office scent every day, because you can wear it in many situations, I think you will get the odd compliment on it, but it does lack a bit of strength, as we said. It may just go missing in a crowd. So yeah, certainly those close-up intimate settings, like a lunch with friends, people might mention it, but overall I think it's just a little bit tame to get those really, wow, that's amazing type sort of comments where you're making a statement. It's not meant to be that sort of fragrance. It's more of an everyday, class, sophisticated, smart casual attire type scent, and again, that will get good compliments overall because it isn't divisive. So I'm going to give compliment factor, I'm going to give it a par. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Again, if you want those real statement compliments, like people almost stop in the room to ask what it is, I think you're going to want something else to support this one. But overall, every day, yeah, this will do the job. It will certainly do the job. Wear it for yourself as much as anything else. Sometimes we're too worried about what other people think of it. If you like this one, and I think it has that mass appeal, you can enjoy it as much yourself as everyone else around you can. As you can tell, I'm now properly going into the wind, and that projection has not improved at all. I'm still getting no kick from this fragrance blowing up into my face. It's disappointing, it's underwhelming, and I really thought it would do a little bit more than that. But let's talk about longevity then. It's been about 2 hours now since I applied the fragrance. We're getting nearer the end of my walk, so let's just give it a smell. Yeah, and what I would say is the longevity here hasn't really changed. When I smelt it earlier when I was doing my projection test, it was probably still 65-70% as strong as it was when I applied it, and it probably is still much the same as that. It hasn't really got much weaker. It's just quite tame in general. But again, I can tell there are quality oils, or much higher quality oils than some of those cheapy citrus fragrances you can get, because it does have that extra staying power about it. It's not just really strong for an hour or two and disappearing. It's just going to be one of those where I think it's going to be quite quiet, quite calm the whole time, but it is going to stay on your clothing for the rest of the day. You know, I think it will still be on my tongue. I'll still be able to detect it tonight. But yeah, it's not really going to pack a punch in terms of its projection. But the longevity here is not too bad. And I would say with this fragrance, as I just said a minute ago during the compliment factor, wear it for yourself. Enjoy this one as much for yourself as other people, because this isn't a scent that's meant to be, again, loud and aggressive and in people's faces to say, notice me. No, this is one you can enjoy as much for yourself, because it's very calming, very relaxing, and it's just got that mass appeal where I don't think you'll ever get sick of it. It's not one of those scents that has enough complexity where you go, oh, I can't stand this smell anymore, I've just smelled it too much. It's very safe, it's very tame, and that means you can enjoy it pretty much all the way through the year. And the longevity on it, if you're just walking along the beach on your own like I am now, it's perfect for that, because I'm not going out to impress anyone with it. So I'm going to say longevity is not bad. It's still not as good, I would say, as lime and bergamot, and for that reason I'm going to go on par again. I'm going to go 7.5. It does what it says on the tin, but I wouldn't go off. If you said to me now, go find a summer fragrance that's built for compliments, this isn't really built for longevity. This isn't the one I necessarily say go for that one, because it hasn't got that about it. Wear it for you, enjoy it for yourself, and just enjoy it more for its scent quality and its mass appealing DNA. So there we are, that is it for today, and we have done 5 rounds looking at Orange and Jasmine by Bronnley Fragrances. Yes, never really heard of this brand until the other day, and now I've reviewed 2 in a row. And what was the total score for Orange and Jasmine based on those 5 rounds we looked at? It's not done quite as well. It's not gone into the 40s, but it's still got a very good score overall. It's got 37.5 out of 50. Yes, it's got a lot of 7.5s today, and it is a consistent performer overall. But the one thing it fell down on for me was just that projection. Again, you can tell how much the wind's in my face at the minute, and it's not really doing anything. It's not there at all, and I'm still finding if I want to smell it, I'm having to dig my nose into my chest to really find it. It's just not there. And I really think it could be. I think it has the potential, particularly with the quality of this fragrance, the quality of the oils, to have a bit more kick about it. Whether they need to add another molecule to elevate those notes in the fragrance, or maybe just somehow increase the concentration a bit, maybe turn it into an eau de parfum just to give it that extra edge, because it is very nice, it's very pleasant, and it just feels like it needs a bit of a push to go to that next level. It almost reminds me of, you know, that person who's amazing at a sporting event. They absolutely are amazing, they're so talented, they're the best person in the team, but they don't really want to go to the next level. They're just happy playing with their mates. They don't want to take it seriously, and it feels like that with this one. It's like it's a casual scent that could be so much more, but it doesn't want to go to the next level. So hopefully, Bronnley, if they are still doing this fragrance, maybe they bring out a stronger concentration of it, because it is very nice, very pleasant, and it has that class and sophistication that feels a step up from those juvenile, everyday citrus scents. It's really nice, and I just wish I could notice it a bit more on this wall, particularly with this strong breeze that is in my face at the minute. But I hope you've enjoyed this one today. I believe my brother has got another Bronnley fragrance as well, so you might see another review of that one soon, and some different fragrances again from some more different niche brands that maybe you've not considered before, because I think it's nice to look at a broad spectrum of fragrances, and there's some really good ones out there that you haven't heard of that can make you stand out in a crowd. So hopefully you'll enjoy those ones and join me for them as well. Thanks for watching, catch you later.